Hello everyone, Kenny here, Cranky Old Man YouTube channel. So, I wasn't going to do another Charlie Kirk video, but I want to kind of combine a few things that I've heard that might have, people might not have heard, and picked up on these little things that are definitely out of place. And then I want to show you something that contains this. Now this is 10-year-old civilian grade thing, and I just want you to see it, and then I'm going to explain it. First of all, why does the FBI only show us the part when Robinson, supposedly allegedly, was 15 to 20 feet away from his sniper's nest? Why didn't they show him laying in the spot? I mean, what is the video only taking 30-second videos? Of course not. It's live the whole time. So why did they make it so he's, 10, 15, 20 feet away? Why didn't they show him perched over his rifle taking a shot? That's one thing. Second thing, when he's running across that roof, when it's filmed on a potato, because you can't see nothing, it looks like Bigfoot, yet they have top-of-the-line cameras everywhere else. You see this very, very big shadow. It's very evident. You see the whole shadow of him running until he gets to the white portion of the roof, right where he's about to jump down. And then the shadow disappears. Now, the shadow should be more apparent when you're getting a bright white sandy beach type texture, and it just disappears. Then, if he jumped off the roof with a rifle in his pants, he would have broke his leg, probably broke his pelvis, definitely ripped his pants apart. And if he jumped without it in his pants, where was it? Because I didn't see it. Nowhere did I see him drop it, pick it up, run with it, anything. Then it comes to, well, his grandpappy gave him that rifle. Well, the rifle they photoed had a synthetic stock. So that means it was had the early 70s at the best. Okay? And that would have been old grandpappy's. And I'm saying, I'm going way back to when synthetic stocks first came in. Synthetic kind of came in around the end of the Vietnam War with the AR-15 platform. But anyway, I would say most rifles still up to the mid 70s or so were wood. So that's another thing thrown out. They got to backpedal on. So this is just some of the things that's in my mind that I don't, people know me, I don't write it all down. I don't have people writing me any type of sketch or any type of report to read. I just go off the top of my head, and some people might like that, and some people might think, oh, he's just a crazy old guy. But let me explain a couple other things. Robinson had about a 9 to 10 degree offset from Charlie. That means he was not directly in line with Charlie. He was about like here shooting at him. So if he had shot him and hit him in the neck area, where people are saying it's an entrance wound, that bullet most likely would have went between his carotid artery, his jugular vein, and his spine. That thing probably would have ripped right on through and right out the backside. However, there is no pink spray mist behind him. There's no hole in the tent. There's no other injuries. And the bullet was found in the skin, just under the skin. So how does that happen? Well, Charlie, if he was sitting straight up in his chair like this, the only way he could have suffered those damages was a bullet coming straight down, because C2, C3, C4, C5, C6, they would all fairly be in line. And then, of course, the T1, the thoracic bone, they would all pretty much be in line. Now, let me do this. I have, I don't know what my wife does with all my stuff. She picks it up, moves it around. Let me see if I can, nope, I do not see. Okay, I'll use this green one here. So let's just say that's Charlie's chair, okay? That's Charlie's chair. Charlie has a habit. Now, like I said, if he was sitting just like this, the bullet would have to come down like that in order to, or at somewhat of an angle, just to miss his cranium, just the rear part of his head, and enter his spine there. So, my theory, oh man, this is some good stuff. I might have to, oh wait a minute, here's some stuff over here. I don't know if this would clean it or not. Let me see. Oh yeah, cleaned it good. That's real good. All right, so if he was leaning forward, the bullet would be coming in at an angle like that, and you would still get that spray in the back, and it would be visible from back here. I don't think it would have went enough down at an angle to be lower than his chair. I think it would have went through and would have been around shoulder height. However, the people around here want you to believe that story. Now, way I think it happened was this. Charlie has a habit, or had a habit, of leaning back in his chair, and then he would lean up, pick up the mic, say what he had to say, put the mic back down, and lean back again. Now, with him leaning like that, now I'm over dramatizing this a little bit for effect, but by him leaning like that, you see how you got that curvature of the upper C1 through C, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so my theory is the bullet came down. I wish I had a different color. I do, but it's big. All right, so my bullet, now it would be higher. I just kind of screwed up, but it would be coming down at this angle. So let's just say it just missed his cranium and it's coming straight down, okay? That could have hit, with him leaning back like this, coming in, that could have hit the C1 through C6 and the thoracic bone. And it could have maybe took a small deviation. Now, you don't deviate, hit here, go all the way up, hit the C1, then fly back down, hit the T1. Any deflection would be a mild deflection. And when I mean mild, I'm talking about it might only move that much within a foot. You would have to go out like 100 yards, and then it might be this much at 100 yards. That's the small amount of deflection you might have if it hit one of those small little bones, you know, on the side here. You got some small bones. I can't remember what they're called, but they're tiny and they're easily to break. Anyone who's ever shot a high-powered rifle, and I'm not saying an AR-15 because that is not a high-powered rifle, despite what all the news media says. But anyone who's fired a high caliber, a high-powered rifle knows for a fact there's no way, not even if it went and hit him directly in that spine, would it have completely stopped. It might have stopped half the bullet, but there's still there's shrapnel going out. Now, the other theory was it came in here, which is still in the back, hit his chain, which had a big cross on it, and that cross flew up, hit him in the neck, and tore that big hole in his neck. Well, that might be. But what I'm saying is, I don't think it did that. I think it came down from the back. Getting back to our assassin, had Charlie been wearing a ballistic plate, not a vest, but a plate. Now, I've seen some still shots where it kind of looks like a plate here and there, but then other times you can see the curvature of his chest, you can see his nipples. No, you can see his nipples. So at certain parts, yeah, it looks like he has a plate. Other times it doesn't look like he has a plate. So if I had to err on one way or the other, I would say he doesn't have a plate because you won't see nipples. But there's other times when you're moving around, your shirt could kind of crimp up a little bit and make it look like you have a plate. So that being said, no plate. Because that was the other thing they were trying to push, that it might have hit the plate and then deflected straight up. Now that is a thing. It's called sprawl. And most good plate manufacturers have what's called sprawl protection, and you pay extra for that. And basically it tries to encapsulate any of the particles or fragments from the bullet and kind of catch it in a rubbery substance that the plates are coated in. Now, if you don't have the sprawl protection, I ran a few times plates without sprawl. I won't do it anymore, especially if this is true with Charlie, with it hitting here and ricocheting up. That was the one that made it problematic. That was the one thing we were always worried about. You got hit center mass here up high and it ricocheted up and then through your head. So here is my theory. This looks kind of like a camera, doesn't it? It's because it is a camera. But this camera, try to show it to you, has this little thing right here. Now you gotta remember, 10 years ago, and this is civilian. We're not talking about 10 years ago CIA stuff. But this is the camera. This is a transmitter. This sends a signal to, if I can get it out, sends a signal to this portion right here, which is basically, for a better term, a router. And that router will sit next to somebody, and then they can Bluetooth to this with their iPad, their regular cell, Android, Apple, whatever. So this sends a signal to this, and then you get to pick up the signal of what this camera is seeing. Now, how far do you say? 10 yards, 100 yards? This one is good for at least a mile, okay? 1 mile, 10-year-old technology. And I know they got newer ones that have repeaters that could do even further than that. So could this camera, which was so important to pull down right after the shooting, maybe to get the SD card out, but the camera disappeared too. Where is the camera? Could there have been a small device, all you need is a 4.5-inch barrel. That much, just like in a compact pistol. Maybe a 6-inch, who knows? But you really don't need all that accuracy when you got it 2 feet above his head. So this thing is back here like this, pointing straight down at him. And you got some guy, maybe it was that guy who did this, I don't know. That guy looked at his watch 2 times in like 4 seconds. That's kind of weird to me. And also, if you watch some of the videos, you'll see some of the guys all look at their watch at the same time. So they're getting some type of message, some kind of warning, or hey, hey, it's on, I don't know. But they both look at the same time, and then the guy looks around, he looks again, looks around. Now they say he's his best friend and he would never betray him, but I don't know. I don't know the guy. I didn't know Charlie, unfortunately, so I don't know how deep this conspiracy could go. But let's just think about this being up there. It gets fired, that one bullet. Now this, whatever this is hooked to, they're watching in real time Charlie sitting there. Now, Charlie, just before he got shot, was either reaching for or putting back a microphone. So he could have been sitting like this, and this could have been ready to shoot at him. And then he reached for it like that, and to grab the mic or put it back, and it missed hitting him in the back of the head and ended up hitting him in the spine or hitting him in the top of the neck. I think that is a very, very good possibility. How else can you hit the C2 through C6 and the T1 at any other angle but above you? How can you do it? You would have to be leaning all the way forward like this and somebody stand right in front of you and shoot you. That's the only other way. That's the only way ballistically. So leave it in the comments if you think that's possible. You know, I do. I think it's a very good possibility. But I'm always up for a little bit of conspiracy theory. And if you have a better idea, let me know. But until then, I'm thinking something like this, 10 years newer, CIA, FBI, Secret Service, anybody who has something like this probably has 1/4 of this and a firing mechanism in there to fire around. And people looking around, not knowing where the bullet came from, that's easily manipulated. All you have to do is have another microphone that was hooked up to Charlie's microphone setup, and all they had to do is fire that noise at the same time they fired the rifle, and they wouldn't know where it's coming from because it would be broadcast through all the speakers. So if there's a speaker here, one here, and two behind you, you would not be able to know where it's coming from because it's coming from all the speakers. So that's a thought. What else did I have that was really on my mind about this thing? I don't know. I might have to do a third Charlie Kirk video once I put together the rest of these things that just don't make sense. But right now, I think that's all I got. I'll remember it as soon as I get off here. And if I do, I'll pop back on for another minute or two because there isn't a whole lot extra that I wanted to say right now in terms of inconsistencies, conspiracies, and just out and out couldn't happen. Not no way, not no how. So that's all I got for now. Maybe I'll post something a little later. Till then, see ya.